Admiral Chen stared at the tactical display, her knuckles white as she gripped the command chair's armrests. The holographic projection showed the twisted wreckage of 17 human vessels floating in the void of the Kepler 442 system, their hulls torn apart like paper dolls in a hurricane. These weren't warships, they were rescue vessels, medical frigates, and supply transports that had rushed to evacuate the civilian colony of New Bangalore after a massive solar flare had crippled their infrastructure. "Ma'am, we're receiving the final transmission logs from the Mercy's Hand," reported Lieutenant Torres, her voice barely steady. The young communications officer had lost her brother aboard one of those ships. Chen nodded grimly. "Put it through." The bridge fell silent as Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through the speakers, distorted by damage to his ship's systems. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the medical frigate Mercy's Hand. We are under attack by unknown vessels. I repeat, we are a medical vessel conducting humanitarian evacuation. We have over 3,000 civilians aboard, including children." The transmission cut to static, then chaos. The sound of hull breaches, screaming, and Rodriguez's final words. "Tell Earth. Tell them what the Corvaxi did to us." The Corvaxi. Chen had heard whispers about them. A reptilian species from the outer rim, militaristic and territorial. Intelligence suggested they viewed human expansion as a threat, but attacking rescue ships filled with civilians crossed every line of civilized warfare. "Admiral," her tactical officer Commander Blake spoke quietly. "The survivor count from the entire rescue fleet." "How many?" 47, out of nearly 15,000 personnel and civilians." Chen closed her eyes. The rescue fleet had been humanity's pride. Ships designed not for war but for hope. Medical bays that could heal any wound. Cargo holds converted to temporary shelters. Engines that burned themselves out to reach those in need faster. And the Corvaxi had butchered them like cattle. She opened her eyes and straightened. "Send a message to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. Tell them Admiral Chen requests immediate authorization for Operation Righteous Fury." Blake's eyebrows rose. Operation Righteous Fury was a theoretical protocol. Total war authorization that hadn't been invoked since the colonial wars 2 centuries ago. "Ma'am, are you certain?" "The political ramifications, Commander, they murdered medical personnel. They slaughtered civilians we were trying to save. There are no political ramifications here." Chen's voice carried the cold fury of someone who had spent 30 years watching humanity reach out its hand to help, only to see it bitten off at the wrist. "There is only justice." The response from Earth came within hours, not from the politicians or the diplomatic corps, but from Fleet Admiral Harrison himself. "Authorization granted. Show them what happens when you hunt the rescuers." Within days, the transformation began. Humanity had always been excellent at 2 things, helping their neighbors and completely destroying their enemies. For 3 decades, they'd focused on the former. Now they remembered the latter. The shipyards of Mars worked around the clock, converting colony ships into dreadnoughts. Scientists who had spent their careers developing better medical scanners now designed targeting systems that could track a Corvaxi heat signature through asteroid fields. Engines built to carry relief supplies were modified to propel kinetic bombardment platforms. But it wasn't just the technology that changed, it was humanity itself. The attack on the rescue fleet had awakened something primal in the species. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers, not the usual young hotshots seeking glory, but doctors who wanted to hold weapons instead of stethoscopes, teachers who preferred targeting computers to lesson plans, and farmers who found that growing food was less satisfying than growing the fleet that would deliver humanity's response. Chen stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the indomitable Mercy, 6 months after the massacre. Around her, a fleet of 800 vessels dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Corvaxi space. Not rescue ships this time. Every vessel was armed with enough firepower to glass a planet. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Corvaxi homeworld," Torres reported. The young lieutenant had been promoted after proving herself during the fleet's shakedown runs. "Put them through." A translated voice filled the bridge, formal and hissing. "Human fleet, you enter sovereign Corvaxi space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Chen smiled, and every officer on the bridge felt their blood chill. "Open a channel, full-spectrum broadcast to every Corvaxi system." She stood, her uniform immaculate, her voice steady. "This is Admiral Chen of the Terran Federation. 6 months ago, Your forces attacked and destroyed 17 human vessels engaged in humanitarian rescue operations. These ships carried medical personnel, relief supplies, and civilian refugees. Your forces showed no mercy. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle across Korvaxi's space. We are not here for conquest. We are not here for territory. We are here because you taught us that in this galaxy, those who extend mercy are seen as weak. You are about to learn how wrong that assumption was. Chen nodded to Blake. All ships weapons-free. Target military installations, government facilities, and fleet concentrations. Leave the civilians alone, we're not them. The first salvo lit up space like a new star being born. Korvaxi defense platforms built to repel invasion fleets simply ceased to exist under the coordinated bombardment of 800 human vessels. Their vaunted fleet, which had seemed so powerful when attacking medical ships, scattered like leaves before a hurricane. It took 36 hours to completely destroy Korvaxi military capacity across 17 systems. Not a single human ship was lost. On the bridge of the indomitable Mercy, Chen watched the final Korvaxi surrender transmission with the same expression she'd worn when watching the rescue fleet's death. Cold. Calculating. Utterly without mercy. Admiral, Torres said quietly, they're requesting terms. Tell them, Chen replied, that there is only one term. Never again. They touched our healers, our helpers, our hope. Next time they see human medical ships, they will remember what happened when they forgot that mercy is not weakness. It's a choice. And when that choice is taken away, she gestured to the tactical display showing the broken remains of the Korvaxi military scattered across the void. This is what remains. The message would echo across the galaxy for generations. Humanity could be the kindest species you'd ever encounter. But heaven help you if you mistook that kindness for weakness.